What if your biggest limitation as a filmmaker isn't your camera, your budget, or your experience, but your ability to translate what's in your head? One of the most important lessons I've learned as a director is that you can't convince people of your vision if they can't see it. And if you can't do that, you won't be able to gather a team to work on a project of yours, and you definitely won't get hired to shoot something for a client. So how can you share your mental picture of a story before shooting has even begun? When I started working on my first feature film 8 years ago, I created a collection of pictures, film stills, drawings, sketches, fonts and whatnot from all sorts of sources, and put all of that into one single folder. Now this folder formed the basis for a so-called moodboard. A moodboard can be seen as a predecessor to a storyboard, but to me it's much more than that. It's a source of inspiration, a playing field for new ideas, and a way to structure your story. My movie, for example, consists of 5 sections, all of which feature different characters, locations, and even time periods. So, when I laid out all my reference pictures in front of me, I immediately realized something important. If everything looks the same, the audience will get lost. So I decided that each section of the film needed its own visual identity. But instead of adding vague annotations like this one should feel colder or this one should feel more dramatic to the script, I built 5 separate mood boards. One for the prologue, one for each of the 3 main chapters of the story, and one for the epilogue. Then I went back to the script and labeled groups of scenes according to their function within the story, allowing me to cross-reference between my mood board and the script. Suddenly, long before the first shooting day, the film had a structure, and this allowed me to clearly communicate my vision to every department. I used my mood board to steer costume and production design into the right direction, to talk about lens choices and lighting styles with the camera department, and it even defined lots of my casting decisions. It became my most important decision-making tool, and I started to use mood boards on every project I worked on ever since. I find them especially useful when it comes to commercial projects, because in advertisement, I'm not just aligning a crew, first I have to convince a client of my idea. Now, this can be extremely difficult if the client doesn't think visually. But whenever I show them references, when I show them a curated visual direction, including a color scheme, lighting style and location photos, they're not guessing anymore. They're starting to see through my eyes. So in advertisement, a strong mood board becomes more than a film tool. It becomes a tool to help shape a brand's identity. It builds trust, and trust is the one thing that makes people want to work with you. It increases your chances to land a job or to get your own film project started. Now, I'm not saying a mood board will magically guarantee you bigger projects. It also won't fix a weak script, and it won't replace experience. But it helps with expressing ideas clearly. And clarity is often the difference between a good idea that stays in your head and a project that actually gets made. Thanks for watching, I hope you learned something, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you around. Cheers.